Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to show you guys how I was able to catch this particular trade and also this particular trade on XAUUSD. If you watch, you can see that this is a XAUUSD pair. So what happened here is that first of all, I want to show you guys something. If you watch this particular trade and then this particular trade, you will see the similarity between these two particular trade. There is no much difference between this particular trade. It's almost the same thing in the sense that there is a liquidity sweep here. There is a mini break of structure, then price pull back to the supply zone and then we go down. Also here, there is a liquidity sweep here. There is a break of structure, a mini break of structure here, but price pull back to the supply zone and then we go down. As you can see, there is no much difference here. So I want to show you guys how I was able to catch this particular trade, especially this recent one. I was able to catch this particular trade. So if you look, you can see that currently in weekly time frame and the daily time frame, let's say yes, it's currently in a bearish direction, but this is a 4 hours time frame. So since I know that SAUSD is currently in a bearish direction in a weekly time frame, in a daily time frame, and I'm a day trader, I'm not a swing trader. What happened in this chart is that if you look, you can see that SAUSD is currently in a bearish direction. This is what happened here. It's currently in a bearish direction. I'm not just in a 4 hours bearish direction. It's maintaining the trend line, respecting the trend line. What happened here is that this is the first mitigation of the front trend line. After the price mitigate the trend line, then it go down. And as you can see, whenever price come close to this trend line, so let's go down. Then this is the second mitigation of the trend line. After price mitigate the trend line, it go down. And then price come here. This is the third mitigation of the trend line. This is where I was able to catch my move and then ride it to the downside and not only catch my move, I utilize the opportunity because whenever I see an opportunity to enter again, I enter the first move here, I enter the second move here, and then the last move here, and then all of them hit TP at once this week. So I entered this one in the last 3 weeks, I entered this particular one last 2 weeks, and then last week I entered this one, then this week all of them have to hit the profit. So let me show you guys how I was able to catch this move here to the downside. So as you can see what I said previously, this is the first mitigation of the trend line here, and then price come back, second mitigation on trend line here. And if you see what happened here is that after each before each mitigation there will always be a liquidity sweep. You can see here liquidity sweep here and then rejection. Can you see it? After liquidity, this particular liquidity sweep, then there is rejection and then price go down, and then price attempted coming to the trend line and then go down. Then if you see here what happened here, the same thing repeat itself again. There is a liquidity sweep here, then price come to the trend line and then go down. Now this is the third time the price want to mitigate the trend line. So what happened here is that there is this is a trend line I need that price respect. And then also there is a supply zone here. As you can see, I mark it out, giving me a double confirmation that whenever I see my entry model here, I'm going to enter because this is a very strong zone. 4 hours trend line is also there. So what happened is that after the mitigation here, what happened is that I look for a liquidity sweep, and as you can see, price sweep this liquidity here. Yeah, a lot of trader is going to enter here. There is also a liquidity here. So what happened is price sweep it and then show me a sign of rejection. Then this lead to my first entry on SAUSD. And then okay, let me go down to my 1 hour time frame so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So this is my 1 hour time frame. So I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. When I told you that this is a high probability zone and then I'm looking for my entry. So you see what happened here. This is my 4 hour supply zone I showed you previously. Then I was waiting for some form of liquidity to before I can enter the trade. This is a 4 hour supply zone. This is a trend line waiting for us here. That shows that this is a very high probability zone. And then I cannot just enter the trade because it's a high probability zone. I have to see a confirmation before I can enter the trade. And as you can see what happened, there is a liquidity here. And then there is also liquidity here. Market have to create inducement here and then come and take it out here. And after taking it out, you see what happened? That is a sign of rejection. When I see that sign of rejection, that is when I know that the sellers are entering the market. Then what happens is I wait for a small pullback and then I enter the trade and then write it back. Then to the second entry, see what happened to the second entry. What happened here is that market have to create double top here, keeping a lot of liquidity here. A lot of liquidity here, and then what happened is that market have to sweep that liquidity, mitigate my trend line once more, and then have to enter the third position and then ride it to the downside. And you see what happened here is that the market pull back. So what happened here for the third entry is that market pull back to the trend line again. Not only pulling back to the trend line, there is an inducement waiting for at the front of this supply zone here. So you see almost same thing happen at the first entry and the second entry. Mean that market will always repeat itself. You see what happened here? There is a supply zone here, there is a trend line here, and the same thing happen here. There is also a supply zone here, there is trend line here, and you can see what happened. Market have to come back, sweep this liquidity, mitigate this trend line, and then I enter for my trade and then write it to the downside. I entered this one last 3 weeks. I entered this particular trade last week, last 2 weeks, and then this one last week, and then this week, all of them have to hit take profit. So this is how I was able to catch this particular trade here. If you like how I analyze my chart, make sure you like, share, and follow. See you in my next video.